Ladies and gentlemen, I have always opined on this platform that in politics nothing happens out of mere coincidence, and that everything in politics is normally well planned, well scripted, and executed to achieve a specific political objective. Nothing in politics just happens for the sake of it. Why do you think Raila Odinga, Kalonzo Musyoka, Martha Karua, Wajakoya the Fifth, and the entire Azimio brigades decided to boycott the national prayer breakfast, which was held today in Nairobi? Why do you think they boycotted it? And what was the objective of that particular boycott? In this video, I want to reveal to you guys the real reasons why Azimio brigades decided to boycott that particular event. Before you do that, in case you're watching the channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click that subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support, because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is now. Without any further ado, let us head straight to the reasons why they boycotted this event. And by the way, I've just watched Kwame Owino, one of the best economists in the Republic of Kenya, on Citizen TV. The guy has dismantled Moses Kuria, Hinga, and Ndindi Njoro combined. He has actually washed his mouth with them. Now, if you missed that interview, you can check it, because we are in an era of this finance bill and we need to be informed. Now, why do you think these guys boycotted this event? Number one, and this for me is the main reason, they didn't want to legitimize William Ruto's presidency. This was the first national prayer breakfast which William Ruto was attending as the president of the Republic of Kenya. If these guys had attended, and based on past experiences, William Ruto was definitely going to talk about the presidency. He did it anyway, and they were going to operate as if William Ruto was the president. The truth of the matter is that Azimio accepted the outcome of the Supreme Court ruling, but they disagreed with it. Up to this stage, Raila Odinga has never called William Ruto President Ruto. He's calling him Bwana Ruto. And one of the contention in Azimio, in bipartisan talks, is the issue of William Ruto's legitimacy. Kenya Kwanza are insisting that before the talks can actually begin, Raila must recognize Ruto. Raila has not done that. So because of the legitimacy issues, they decided not to attend. So that's number one. Number two, I also tend to think that Azimio were keen on avoiding William Ruto's trap. You know, William Ruto is a very shrewd politician, and William Ruto is a schemer. This kind of opportunities he cannot just let pass. Remember when he was being frustrated during the last regime, he would come to this kind of events and would carry the day. He did that in Bomas during the BBI. William Ruto again did it perfectly well during the last prayer breakfast. Nothing was going to stop him now being the president to use the opportunity. And the traps are many. One of them is the finance bill. William Ruto was surely going to use the opportunity to drum support for the finance bill. There's the issue of the BBI, the bipartisan talks. He was going to use it also to take advantage, and probably because as the president is the guy who speaks last after listening to all these other guys. So probably Raila Odinga, Kalonzo Musyoka, and the rest didn't want a situation where they offer William Ruto opportunity to respond after they've spoken. And remember, there's also the alleged handshake. You know, if they were to attend this event, probably someone was going to force Raila to shake hands with Rigathi and things like those. I don't think that's something which is going to happen anytime soon, at least publicly, because Rigathi Gachagua swore never to shake hands with Raila Odinga. So for me, I think it was not going to be possible because of William Ruto's trap. And then the other reason which could have contributed to this, in my view, is the memory of the last year's prayer breakfast. You know, sometimes it's just good to do good, then move. William Ruto was humiliated in court during the last prayer breakfast. In fact, Rigathi Gachagua even alluded to it, that there's a lady who took William Ruto's seat during that particular event. So the fear was that if they went for this event, was there a chance that William Ruto was going to revenge? Or is there a chance that William Ruto was going to mock them? And indeed, he mocked them. So for me, the memory of that last prayer breakfast is what contributed to Azimio boycotting. Remember, Azimio is still getting a lot of influence and instructions from the former president, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Number 4, if you ask me, is the church factor in Kenyan politics. You know, there's a bond which William Ruto created between himself and the church. The other day you saw the I don't know, what is his name? Gitonga. Is it Redeemed Gospel? The guy who mocked Raila Odinga. You know, this was a prayer, national prayer breakfast. Azimio are not in charge of organizing it. It's actually the parliament. But who is parliament? Parliament is the speakers of the Senate and the National Assembly who are allied to Ruto. So who are they going to invite to speak? Probably those information did not come out. Yeah. So I also tend to think that because the church is perceived to be in bed with Ruto, maybe it was a kind of a protest against the church, or maybe a rebellion against the church by Raila Odinga and the team. The truth of the matter is that William Ruto has effectively used the church. The other day you saw Ole Sapit sweating, trying to explain himself on his role in the last election. You've seen several other church leaders now trying to get off that tag, but they can't. Ruto used them to mobilize. So there was that fear that probably they were going to be used again to advance William Ruto's objectives. And number 5, in my view, I also tend to think that Raila Odinga and Azimio laid a trap for their members of parliament. You know, yesterday, Raila Odinga and Azimio issued a statement about this prayer breakfast. And they made it very clear that as Azimio, they are not going to attend. But they left the window open for their members of parliament to attend. But for me, I saw a trap for MPs. These guys wanted to know which member of parliament, which senator was going to attend this event. Because, for example, MPs from Mukambani, if Kalonzo, a man of God who has never missed these events, was missing, and Azimio said very clearly that for them, they are not going to attend this event, then you attend, and their supporters are watching you. You know, so in my view, they wanted to identify those sympathetic MPs. And indeed, now they know the sympathetic MPs. Pasaris has sold herself, now marked. The Dagoretti, is it North? Beatrice Elashi was there. She even spoke. And remember how Rigathi Gachagua pressed her. So I'm told there were around 6 or so members of parliament from Azimio. And probably because some of these members of parliament knew the trick, they decided not to attend that event. During last event, it was full. So generally, that event today was more of a UDA parliamentary group meeting. Or let me not call it UDA, let me call it Kenya Kwanza parliamentary group meeting. And lastly, and I think this was influenced by Uhuru Kenyatta, Jubilee politics. You know, just yesterday, Kanini Kega called for Jubilee NDC. And in one of my analysis yesterday, I explained why he did that. One of the reasons he did that was to sanitize William Ruto's takeover, forceful takeover of Jubilee Party. Because for them, for Uhuru Kenyatta's faction, everything they do, registrar of political parties does not agree with. But for this other group, whatever they do, the registrar is normally in agreement with them. So for you to take over the party, you must have a NEC meeting, you must have NDC, then you submit the minutes. So I'm sure these guys just are on that path of submitting the documents, so that once they hold the NDC, everything will be in order. So Raila Odinga, Azimio, cannot allow that to happen. That you talk of a prayer meeting or a prayer breakfast, whose theme is actually reconciliation, then a day before that prayer meeting, then you unleash, Kanini Kega to issue a statement. Then remember, we are coming at a time when Uhuru Kenyatta's farm had been raided. So far, nobody has apologized to him. We are talking at a time when Uhuru Kenyatta's security had been withdrawn. You know, and Uhuru Kenyatta having lost the election is not something he can just take like that. So Jubilee politics was really at the center of this thing. And maybe the last one, which for me is not the main reason, and that's what they were suggesting yesterday, is that they didn't want to be seen to be hypocrites. That William Ruto and his team are not serious. They're just marking time. They are not honest with whatever they are saying. That every other previous meetings they've held together, they've never seen any honesty in Kenya Kwanza. I don't know what to think, but for me, those are the reasons why I think Azimio boycotted the event. And let me know whether you enjoyed this video. Let me know whether you agree that Azimio had certain objectives which they wanted to achieve by boycotting the events. Thank you guys. And by the way, that video I did about the 6 cartels, let me confess that I forgot that name. It should have been number 1, Farouk Kibet. So we were talking of 6 people, so you can help me. Let me just name the 6 people, then I add Farouk. Then we can eliminate one of them who is not a cartel really. I talked of Kipchumba Murkomen, Gladys Sholei, Davis Chirchir, Oscar Sudi. I talked of Felix Koskei, the chief of staff, and who else? I talked of 6 people. Who else was that? And now we have. I talked of Chelugoi Simon, having served as the longest serving minister. Then now we have Farouk Kibet. So who should we remove from this list? Most people are talking of, Lee, let's remove Oscar Sudi and have Farouk, or let's remove Koskei and have Farouk, or let's remove Chelugoi. So actually that list, there's a general consensus that only 3 people can be removed. One of the 3, Oscar Sudi, Koskei, the chief of staff, and Chelugoi. Who do you think we should remove there? Let me read in the comment section. Thank you, and may you have a good day. Bye-bye.